Now it's time for Extra Mile. Let's talk about moving from the corner office to politics. And joining us tonight, like I told you, is Ronald Karauri. He's famously known for SportPesa. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, first of all, so we build up to, you know, you're deciding to run for office. Who is Ronald Karauri, other than the guy we see in the corporate world?
Yeah, Ronald, I think SportPesa put me in a different light, so very few people know my history. Karauri Ronald is a married man, happily married, 3 kids. I grew up here in Nairobi. I went to school in Harambee Primary School, Mangu High School, University of Nairobi for engineering, where I did not finish the course. Started flying in Kenya Airways, did 11 years, 6 years as a co-pilot, 5 years as a captain. After which I now joined SportPesa as the CEO. Which now I think the SportPesa story is the one that overshadows everything before that. So that's Ronald in a nutshell. You
were supposed to be an engineer, then ended up as a pilot.
Yes.
Why did you drop out?
So what happened is I started engineering. I was doing mechanical engineering at University of Nairobi. But then the opportunity, this is the first time Kenya was advertised for ab initio pilots. I had a passion for flying. I thought I wanted to fly. So I applied for that course, and luckily I was one of the few that was selected for the course. So I was in my 3rd year of engineering, so I had to choose whether to drop out of school in engineering and pursue the flying, which I did. And luckily I completed the course and got into Kenya Airways. So I started working in Kenya Airways, I think 2004. Yes.
And by the time you're leaving, you're a captain already?
Yes. Now, when we joined Kenya Airways, that was the time there was this big rapid expansion that KQ had. So there were a lot of aircrafts that were coming in. So going up the ranks in KQ was actually quite fast at the time. Now it has slowed down because, of course, the economic times. In fact, in 2006, KQ was one of the best performing airlines in Africa and the world. So there was a lot of aircraft acquisition, big shortage of pilots. So we moved up the ranks pretty fast. So after 6 years as a co-pilot, I had already flown the 737, the 767, and the 777 before I became a captain on the 737. So I think it was just being at the right place at the right time that made us move up very fast.
All right.
Yes.
Quite interesting. Let me take you back. When you say Harambee, growing up, I assume you mean the Eastlands Harambee?
Yes. Harambee in Buru. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, I actually know it. So I'm just wondering, then, growing up, typically for Ronald Karauri, how was it growing up in Harambee?
It was okay. I think like any other, person in primary school, we used to walk to school. I was lucky. I think I did very well in school at the time because after KCP, after our KCP results, I managed to go to Mangu High School, which is one of, at the time, even now, one of the best schools in Kenya. So it was just, I think, normal, nothing special about my life at the time. I think it's what many people have, but when you grow up, you realize that many people don't have that opportunity, and that's why I think even one of the reasons why I want to get into politics now.
You know, flying a plane is almost everybody's dream, particularly for those who were even studying in aviation colleges. My question is, why would you quit flying planes to go into the world of betting?
Yeah, so I think at the time, and even when I made that decision, I know my parents are watching this. They were wondering whether I had gone crazy. But I had done a little bit of business before. And I realized that if you want to be successful in business, sometimes you have to yourself be part of the business. At the time, it was actually a very difficult decision because, yes, I was successful in flying. I was already a captain, and a young captain at that. But then, since I was venturing into this new project, I had to choose whether I wanted to be involved in it. And since I wanted it to be successful, I made that decision at the time that, okay, I've done the flying, let me now just venture into business and see what I can do. So, lucky for me, not really lucky because it was a lot of hard work, but it worked out. We built a successful business. But at the time, when deciding what to do, whether to move from flying to business, it was actually a very difficult decision. Yes.
And then you build a very successful business. Then 3 years ago, the business is almost brought to its knees. What was happening then?
Yeah, the SportPesa story would need its own documentary.
We'll cover that another day, but in a nutshell.
Yeah, so SportPesa grew up fairly quickly, one of the fastest growing businesses actually in the world. I think we had tapped into an area many people had not seen. We were the ones who invented betting via SMS. So it grew pretty fast, a lot of effort in the marketing side, most of the decisions we made with our marketing style in terms of even sponsorships and our CSRs. So we grew very fast. I think the growth was also, you know, a bit, it was too fast maybe, even in terms of the regulation and everything else. We were pushing for regulation at the time, but I think we got some people in government who could not see where we were heading as a business. So I think we got into our hurdles, our license was not renewed, but I think where we are right now, because we're operating at the moment, we are clearing those issues that we had, and hopefully it'll grow to the size that it was before.
I'm sure these are allegations you've responded to.
Yes.
But very quickly, there was the aspect of, you know, what was flying around.
Yes.
KRA in terms of the amount of money they were asking from SportPesa. Number two, the SportPesa was being used as an avenue for money laundering. How would you respond to the two?
Yeah, now, I think our industry was very misunderstood at the time, I think. But as I've always said, we've never owed any money to KRA. Of course, there were allegations, but there's a procedure in the Tax Procedures Act. And I remember at the time what I was asking for is a chance to follow the Act. And that's what we've been doing from then till now. And as you've seen, the story of taxes as also, we're following the procedure, and we have dealt with KRA the proper way using the Tax Procedures Act, and nothing has come out of that. The money laundering aspect was, I think, a creation of several, I don't know what to call them, but really not even there, not the normal media. Because remember, SportPesa only dealt or deals with mobile money and bank accounts. So all our transactions are visible to anybody. You go, if you want to find out about all our transactions in M-Pesa, you just go to Safaricom, which transactions end up in the banks. So all the money, it has a trail. So the allegations of money laundering were completely unfounded, and even up to now, you can see that they are baseless, completely baseless.
At this time when your business is almost on its knees,
yes,
do you regret quitting being a captain too?
No, I really do not. You know, I think everything is a learning process. And that's why I think I think many people say I have a skin made out of steel, because even when I was in Kenya Airways, I was part of the pilots union. We had our battles with management. I was almost getting into trouble because of that job I was doing, defending pilots. Then I get into SportPesa, we ran into all these troubles. So through all that, I've learned a lot. I am a professional of the Employment Act and the Labor Relations Act because of the union. Then coming to SportPesa, I am a professional of the Tax Procedures Act, Income Tax Act, all these acts of parliament that have gotten me to learn so many other things. And that's why it actually takes me to believe that I'm the best suited person to run for the office that I'm looking for right now.
All right, let's go there. From your corner office, running a successful business, to politics, it's a mucky, dirty world. Why would you want to go there?
Yeah, and I think it's good you've called it like that, because you call it a murky, dirty world. But I believe that one of the main problems we have as Kenyans is that the people we put into those positions of politics are completely inexperienced, meaning to me in that they've not done anything successfully before they get into politics. I think what we should be doing is encouraging more successful businessmen, more successful lawyers, or whoever is very good in their field to get into politics, because that's the only way to change lives. In our CSR projects at SportPesa, we've walked around, we've done sports. More recently, we've done hospitals. And the more you walk around the country, you see the problems that Kenyans are living in. These problems can only be solved through our politics. And that's why, even for me, I'd like to encourage more Kenyans, more successful Kenyans, because my CV in terms of what I've done in business and even flying makes me best suited to politics. Whether it's dirty or mucky, I think we're the ones who need to change it. It will be dirty for us as we get in, but when we get into politics and we transform it, it's only us who can do it. Let's transform it so that more people come in and change the narrative. Because if we keep doing what we've always done, if we keep selecting the same politicians into that dirty, mucky world, then it will never change. Yes.
Kasarani is an enormous constituency in Nairobi County.
Huge, huge.
And obviously it has its own challenges.
Correct.
But what would be your first priorities if you were to be elected the MP for Kasarani?
That's a good question, because when you go into Kasarani, and it's not only Kasarani, but you realize that even some of the fundamental basic rights for Kenyans are not being fulfilled. Kenyans have a right to health care, education, clean water, sanitation. education, all those things are not being met currently. So for me, my main priority is first of all to raise the standards of all the people of Kasarani to at least meet those basic human rights before transforming it into what Kasarani deserves to be. Kasarani hosts the biggest stadium, I think, in Kenya, East and Central Africa. Most of the games, international sports, are all held there, but there is not a single hotel in Kasarani. Most of the youth there are jobless, you know. It's a really sad state of affair. I met some women who were saying even before they get to the point of sending their children to school, whereby they don't even have the money to send the children to school, they have to first even think about where to get the food to feed the family. So we are in a situation in Kenya whereby the problems we've had since 1963, we have a lot of Kenyans still suffering the same problems. So my main priority, first of all, is to raise those standards so that all my constituents in Kasarani at least have that basic dignity of human beings, and then from there we see how we can develop to the next level. We have big problems in Kamulu, Ruai, no roads. Education is a problem. Everyone wants bursaries. Those are the things we need to tackle first of all. Yeah.
Quite interesting. As we wind up,
yes.
When you announced your decision that you would be running for elective office and said Kasarani, you did not say your party before, but already now your party is known.
Yes.
Jubilee Party.
Jubilee
Under
Party.
Azimio.
Yes.
Why Jubilee?
Jubilee, you see, the party, and I always tell people when I went, even when I go to Kasarani, what I say is, you see, people make the party. The party, Jubilee Party, has very good goals and visions and objectives. And I think some of the people in Jubilee Party are the ones who have not managed to fulfill those objectives. I feel I align with that vision, I align with those objectives, and I feel I'm one of the people who is going to actually achieve the objectives of Jubilee as it was formed and the vision. So that is why it's Jubilee Party, and I think I'm going to...
But you know one element of Jubilee is out.
One element?
As it was formed. You say
yes,
as it was formed.
Yeah, correct. Now, yeah, I understand. But you see, as I say again, we're the ones to transform this thing.
Okay.
If you see even the new parties that are being formed, that other branch that has broken off of Jubilee, it's the same politicians.
Right.
You see, so we are the ones to come in and transform. And whatever objectives we have as Jubilee, we are the ones who need to fulfill them.
All right. Yes. Thank you very much, Ronald Karauri, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
As you run for office, and obviously hope that once you get into the politics, you will not become dirty as the politics is. By the way, do you love reggae?
I love reggae. I love reggae.
Which song do you love?
Bob Marley songs, all Bob Marley. I think maybe I'm old school, but yeah, I'm a reggae guy.
Reggae is up next. So we want to put a cap on Prime Edition, but of course Safin is on the other end. So we'll be putting a cap, Safin. Well, clearly this is where we have to end it up. I'm saying bye-bye on behalf of myself and Safin. Good night.